All right, so welcome back, guys. So here in this session, we're going to take our very few but very important steps because we are almost at the final stage of our completion of the course. So here you can see that in front of me that I've changed the look and feel again back to the streak mode, and these particle systems are really very nice and interesting. And the important thing I would like to call for you is that we would like to talk about these streaks as well. While playing with the reaction, we're just gonna play the timeline. You may could see that these streaks are, also coming, but in some of the cases, these streaks are coming a little bit more as per the expectations. Like, these are coming more as compared to these kind of the shapes. So what if somebody wants the more streaks, or what if somebody wants less streaks? Well, the mystery should be get clear. The simple reason is that we're going to go for the fluid emitter. There's something here called as the max distance. If we're going to reduce the max distance to, let's say, 0.1, and if you start playing with the stuff, you should notice that in this particular case, most of the particles would be coming out in a form of the streaks. All right. So this is a very interesting kind of the reaction that you may could notice. And if somebody is interested in this kind of the reaction, however, my artistic decision doesn't like that much, or it's a perception, you may could say. It isn't necessary that if I didn't like that thing, then everybody must have to do deny that. So it's just, a kind of a choice. But here in this case, you may could see that you're just coming up with some different kind of the reactions. However, if somebody want in this way, you are most welcome to use this kind of reaction as well. So what I did in that case, I just reduced the max distance. However, if we're going to jump it back to the point 4, you'll start noticing the bigger patterns of the energies. And obviously, in that case, the streaks would have gone away. I mean, those smaller and streaky kind of things will not going to be anywhere. But this may could give some little bit, a kind of instability in the beginning of the reaction, since this is quite bigger in the size, so most of the fluids are being getting collected. So just be careful that do not extend it to more than 0.35 or zero point 0.4. I should say 0.35 is the last limit, or maximum by 0.4. You shouldn't need to be extended to more than zero point 0.4, which is the max distance of the fluid emitter. All right. So I'm really gonna like the shape that is being bursting out, and you can just start playing with more. For example, if you want to have them to appear in a much bigger way, in this way, you want more radially, it should get project. So you could just start working upon the parent particle and can start increasing uh, the random directions. If we're going to give it to 10 or 15, it will going to come up in a more like these particles would going to get more spread. Okay, but I don't recommend it that you should go for more than 5 I guess it's the most appropriate option. And also moving further, we also would like to consider some very important thing is that, because I've just break down my scene into some few layers, which you can go and can find it very easily and very apparent that in the DOF, which is the depth of the field, I've just provided earlier I just provided a shader that is the volume shader. So you can calculate the DOF with that. It's just a very easy and simple workflow. I think so must be there inside my hypershade. Yes, you may could see there is something called the MIB volume. You can just drop it over here and can just start tracing out the depth of the field of your the background. All right, and we do have the occlusion layer, and specifically I'm having the particle layer in which I've added the use background utility to all the objects, so that the particle system shouldn't be taking much longer time. Let me just get rid of this one first of all. So here is my use background shader that I've applied to almost all the geometries inside here, and just be careful regarding the reflectivity and the reflection limit. I've switched that thing to off. However, it doesn't matter because we are not going to utilize any of the ray trace shadows. And one very important thing regarding these, let me just come back to the master layer, these little rocks, the amazing stuff I'll get lost. I don't know. So, uh, okay, I think this is basically the shader for that. All right, that's perfect. I told you that, just provided the mental rate displacement approximation also. So it is really recommended to all of you that while rendering out the stuff, just for even for your rough renders also, do not take this. It is recommended to hide the rock, or you may could also apply the use background utilities, because the the mental ray subdivision approximation is also adding some few things to the rendering time. So you shouldn't be expecting such kind of things, if you are taking out the rendering of the particles. Last but not the least, our hand and the sword are being given with the MIA material X, that is being given with some anisotropic kind of the shader, and I've also provided a map. I guess I think something went wrong. Okay, this is the map that I just provided over here. It's not like that much great, but it will give me a nice look and feel. So with that, the section is done, and you may could just start taking out the separate renders of your scene. I've also provided, I guess, a bookmark. This is, I think, that's not the one that I was talking about. I just kept the sword in like in this way, and just start taking out your renders and all with respect to your save frame and action frames. And step by step, you need to take out the renders with respect to all the layers and everything. And then finally, you're going to get that thing. I highly recommend that, guys. You should go to the post-production process, and you should also start taking out the care of your renders. I just don't want to, make you go through with those files of the After Effects, because I think so the choice of the final rendering and the composing should be completely uh, we would like to leave up to you, because everybody has a different choice of rendering or taking things in the post productions. So I guess it was a very nice and cool journey with all of you. And one important note I would like to discuss with all of you is that while creating this course, I do acknowledge that the rendering is not going to be really very fantastic, since it was taking a little bit of the time while taking out the particles. But in that case, I must have to say that I was doing the stuff with the mental ray. If you wish to go with the Arnold or any other sophisticated rendering system, you're most welcome in that way. And I also encourage you people to go for the Krakatoa version, because the Krakatoa is very meant for solving millions of the particles. But we don't need to worry about that, because as such the quantity has been considered of the particles, the system may could go for more than approximately 6 or 7 millions of the particles with a rendering time of hardly 3.5 to 4 minutes, depending upon the qualities which you are using inside the settings. So here, these are my render settings. I'm using the default quality settings of the, I think not the default, I switched that thing to 1, and lighting quality I switched that thing to the 1, and I use the filter called Michel 4:4. I also recommend you guys to take the overall quality to maybe 2 to 1.5, depending upon your satisfactory level. All right. So that was all discussion with you, and I really like the course. I really enjoy my journey. So looking forward to see your works. Bye bye, and take care of yourself.